But at the highest levels, the vampirism, the reptilianism, the werewolfism, the shapeshifting, it's all tied together.
Exactly. That's exactly what I have come to the conclusion. And it's related to the blood. Now, a question, my friend told me that they need, quote, innocent blood to maintain their human form. Have you heard that, and what would you think about that?
Yes, I have heard that, and that would make sense to me because there's such a demand. The Luciferians are doing sacrificial rites all the time, and there is such a demand. Look at all the different. I've done shows with William Kennedy where he talks about all the different children, the thousands, the hundreds of thousands, the millions of children that disappear all the time. We have the testimony of James Casbolt and how in the deep underground bases, there's all these kids that are these innocents, and that their blood is used in these sacrificial rites. So, yeah, I can see that. And then we've had stories of, some of these, like that one queen that used to bathe in the blood of innocent young virgins. And there's the interview with David Icke where he's talking with Krita Mutwa, and Krita Mutwa is talking about some of these elder shamans and how they sleep beside these innocent girls. So they kidnap them, and then they sleep beside them to kind of suck in their energy, and they build up this fear in them and let them know that they could be killed at any time. All this adrenaline is then rushing in their blood. All these different things are added to their blood, and then at some time they slaughter them. They sacrifice these individuals. And he was even talking about how all of the members that are there that are taking part in the ritual, how they masturbate while they are killing the young, innocent victims. And so there's all kind of weirdness. And, yeah, the innocent blood, that's very important to Satan.
Yeah, like I said, my friend said that's why they need that to maintain their human form, or they go back and they're running out of innocent blood, and that's one reason that underground they have many women that are just called breeders
Right.
to produce that for them. What is the difference between the spirit and the soul?
Okay, the spirit, all right, it's sort of like this. In every individual, when we come into the flesh, we have a binary being. We have a spirit that is the witness. That is the part of us that goes from into the flesh after dreaming when we come back into the flesh. But then we also have a soul that is part of the dreaming body. The spirit is the part of us that goes back and forth between the flesh body and the dreaming body. The dreaming body is the soul. The spirit is the part of us that, when we're in the flesh, it gives this body consciousness, the ability to see all the senses. All the senses are at work. But at night, when we go to sleep and we actually go into our dreaming bodies, our spirits go into our dreaming bodies, in part in our soul. That gives us access to a whole nother dimension, a whole nother area of research where people are doing, like lucid dreaming and different things like that. That is an aspect that is tied to other capacities, other worlds, other dimensions. But in truth, we are that spirit that goes back and forth as the witness between both the soul, which is the dreaming body, and the flesh incarnation, the flesh being. That's truly what we are, that spirit, that thing that gives this body consciousness, warmth, the gleam that is in the eye. That's what the spirit is. And the soul is the dreaming body.
Okay, if God chooses souls to put into bodies, is there a spirit that goes along with that, or how does that work?
Yes, yes. It's a combination of all three. And also, too, remember, you know how when you're in the flesh, you have two voices? You have a consciousness, a conscience that makes you want to do the good things. And then we also have that voice of evil inside all of us that talks to us and tries to get us to do the bad things. That would be kind of, depending on the person and the proclivity for evil, whether that person has a very loud voice for evil or a quiet voice for evil or listens more to the voice for good. But the spirit is that part of us that is separate from both of those things, separate from the flesh and separate from that other voice of evil. I don't know if does that make sense?
It does. We all have our, I have my way to comprehend what you said. I call it understandings because I almost get downloads of understandings. And my way
that happens to me.
Is that, God breathed life into Adam, and what he breathed into him was the spirit, not the soul.
Yeah, right.
And here's something interesting, which is related, that came from an interview I heard with Dr. Joy. And she said at day 49, and 49 is an interesting number, it's God's number 7 times 7.
Right.
She said at day 49 of conception is when the soul enters through the pineal gland, the body. And I thought that was just fascinating. And but I guess the spirit to me is also related to another question I was going to ask you. When they say life is in the blood, well, I believe the word, quote, life is in fact the spirit.
Right.
So what does it mean? What does it mean life is in the blood, and how does blood have anything to do with this?
Okay, when we're in the flesh body, when we're actually in the flesh, the blood is what holds the spirit. The spirit is sort of like swimming. It's almost like we're wearing a coat of armor, really, when we're in the flesh. These are not our real bodies. It's like a coat that we put on, a coat of armor, or a suit of clothes that we put on. But when you lose enough blood and you die, then the spirit leaves. And so that the spirit is unified and tied with the blood and the flesh capacities, so that, at some point death comes to us. But the spirit swims in the body and takes on, wears it almost like a suit of armor. I wanted to touch just a little bit of one other thing that what we were talking about prior to this, with the soul and the spirit. Now, the third creation of Adam, the Adam that was created on the 8th day, that creation came about as an agreement between both the angels of good and the angels of evil. And so we have bound within us a carnal spirit, or the soul, and a higher spirit, which is tied to the good side. And so we have this duality, like a binary soul almost, in that we have the proclivity for both good and evil. And the flesh and the blood and this lifetime as incarnations, that's what it's about, is the knowledge of good and evil and the experience of duality.
Is that what it means in the book of James? It says, do not be double-minded?
Yes.